Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being with us this evening for the regular board meeting of the Dougherty County School System. We're shifting a couple of things around. Miss Denise or Judge Denise Marshall is going to be joining us to swear in to do the swearing in, and she is a little delayed because of an unforeseen circumstance. So we're just going to kind of move, and at this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Dyer, who has a presentation that he would like to make.
Well,
on behalf of the board.
Right. Well, as many people may know, this is Mr. Youngblood's last meeting as a school board representative for District 1 after 12 years. He has done all accounts an extraordinary job, having served as vice chair, having served as chair, and served on the finance committee for a while, the building and grounds committee, where you currently chair the building and grounds committee, and we've made significant progress in terms of our finances and our physical structure, physical plant, with Mr. Youngblood's input and leadership. And of course, these 12 years came after he served as a teacher, assistant principal, and director of federal programs for the Dougherty County School System before his retirement. And as all educators, once an educator, always an educator, he couldn't give it. He saw a need to come back and continue to serve, and he did that for 12 years. And had it not been for family issues that, of course, take precedent and priority, he would continue to serve. He would have continued to serve in that role. Can't say how much I appreciate your leadership, how much your support, and although we didn't always agree on everything, we could always understand that that we all did what we thought was in the best interest of our students. And the school board is the governing board. You have the superintendent that makes up the governance team, and team is an arbitrary word. We certainly worked as a team, held each other accountable. You held me accountable, and continue to hold me accountable with positive accountability. And the progress that we made in the last 12 years, in no small part to your contribution, due to your contribution and the contribution of other board members, is notable. And certainly appreciate it. Your loss will be felt. But as we talked about earlier today, can't get away that easy. We're going to continue to call you because I had your cell phone number. And he already asked, he said, although I won't be serving in this role, I will continue to serve and contribute in any way I can. And I certainly do appreciate that, and I know that's genuine. And the board has this token of our appreciation. It's a sculpture, glass sculpture that says, with a deep appreciation in honor of Robert Youngblood for 12 years of dedicated service to the Dougherty County Board of Education on this December 9th, 2024. So if you would, you can take this and our logo, the DCS logo is up top. And if all the board members can go around the front here.
Mr. Dyer, fellow board members and community members, It has been a wonderful thing to serve on the board and continue to serve the children. As Mr. Dyer said, I'm a product of the Dougherty County School System. I attended Magnolia Elementary, Mary Acres, Westover. Continued my education not only at Darton, but Albany State, and Valdosta State, and University of Georgia. And throughout the years, I've coached, been a principal, been a teacher, been a central office staff member. And through the years, you learn the community and the people in the community. And one thing's for sure, everyone loves their children. And we all care about them. And I have to convey to you, and of course I'm speaking to the choir here because all of you here tonight are here because you do support schools in one way or another, and you're a part of that. And it's going to continue to take that. Dougherty County has met some tough challenges through the pandemic, and we are working toward that. But there have been a lot of gains in the last 12 years. And I can remember coming on 12 years ago, and I'll just be real brief with this, because it's not one person, it's a component of the parents, the community, the board members, Mr. Dyer and his staff working together. But 12 years ago, we had furlough days, 10 for teachers, 10 for students. Non-certified employees. We were $9 million in deficit 12 years ago. We had money that was being held by the state. I can remember coming to my first meeting in Atlanta by the audit committee where Dougherty County were having issues. And since that time, the board has worked together and most recently been awarded a board of distinction. We've got $41 million in surplus. We don't have to take out tax anticipation notes, but we still have challenges. And there's strategic plans in place to meet those challenges. Those things are in place and put in there, and it won't happen overnight. The pandemic took a hit for Dougherty County. We're the first ones to admit that. And it's what we do now that we're faced with those challenges. That's the measuring stick. How we got here through the different events has put us in a position. But like coaches always say, well, now that you got the situation, what you gonna do with it? And that's what we got to do. We've got to work together. But I appreciate the time, and the thing that's made this so good, this board has worked along with the superintendent and the staff. We've been two different superintendents during that time. I think in the prior 12 years we had 3 or 4, but we've had consistency. We have people that care. But I think the big thing is we're functional. We're not dysfunctional. We do disagree, and it's good. You don't need a bunch of yes people on the board, but it's how you disagree and how you approach it in a positive manner. So often our young people are only bombarded with the negatives about the school system. We want these kids to be proud of who they are. We want them to be happy. We need to pat them on the back. We can't always come at the kids. If you had a child at home and every time you turn around, you only pointed out the negative things on them and never positive reinforcement, there'd be an issue with that child. Our community has to start accentuating the positive that happens. That doesn't mean turn your back on the negatives. You got to identify things that need to be worked on. That's important. But don't forget, these are kids out here too. They want pats on the back for what they do and what they achieve. They need to feel their degree is just as good as any other county or any other state. So we continue to work that way, and that's the way we need to be. I am stepping down from the board and didn't run this year, and Dr. Hand is going to replace me, and I fully support her. She's got her heart in the right place, no vendettas. She's coming in with an open mind, no prior allegiances. She's going to see it as it is, and if you know Dr. Hand, you'll know she'll call it as it is. No doubt about it. So I ask you to continue to support this board on their mission. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a journey. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be people, but it's how they handle it. And so I want to once again thank my coworkers, because it's that trifecta, the community, the school system, and the board working together. That's the only way we're going to achieve. So thank you again for the years, not only the educational opportunities provided, but the opportunities for my family. And I will continue to be an advocate, a positive advocate for this community. That doesn't mean I'm not going to point out things. They know me by now. I do it in a professional way. I don't just try to bandwagon and get publicity for it. I'm one of those that works behind the scenes to get to where we need to go. And I don't plan on quitting that. This community is too important to me. I was born and raised here, and I'm not abandoning it. Things have caused me to not be able to continue, but I'll still be a positive advocate in this community every time I have the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Dyer. Thank you, fellow board members. Thank you, community.
Some of you may know Pete Donaldson. He is a local attorney in Albany, and for years he was an attorney at the law firm of Perry and Walters that serves as our board firm. And Tommy, although was Tommy Coleman was our primary attorney, Pete sometimes filled in when Tommy was not available. Pete passed away today, and that's a shock to us all. And that's why Judge Marshall is running late. She was very close to him, and she went to visit the family, and she's gotten behind. I understand she is on the way, so we will begin the roll call have Dr. Faison do a presentation of our local school governance team members who will be sworn in tonight. And it is our hope that that by the time that process is finished, that Judge Marshall will be here to do the swearing in. And if not, we'll make the necessary adjustment. All right?
Good evening. Mrs. Struther, board members, Mr. Dyer, and our community here. It gives me great pleasure to do this, I think, for the 7th time. I think we're 7th or 8th time. We have people that go through an intense training to be local school governance team members. And before assuming their duties, they have to take an oath of office. Mr. Youngblood did it for us one time before. He administered the oath, and we thank you for your service to the school board and to this community. I know you personally, and I appreciate you. What I'm gonna do is just call your name, and we'll do all the pictures and all of that good stuff. And hopefully Judge Marshall will be here momentarily. We have, first of all, Ms. Cassandra Arrington. And if you will come up and get your certificate from Mr. Dyer. Okay. And the chairperson. Come on, and just stay up here because we're gonna get a group picture. Okay. Lakeisha Boone is not here. Larice Brown. Mr. Gomez. Donna Gridley. Deborah Harper. Stephanie Hart. Kamikia Johnson. Bethany Lampley. Dr. Sarah McCrary. Paula McCullough. Dana Olds. Tashikia O'Neill. Quasha Stevenson. Katrina Stokes. Kishona Thomas. Gerono Waiters. Felicia Watson. That is. Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Are we ready to proceed? All right. All right. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. I say your respective names. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will truly and faithfully discharge all of the duties required of me by law as a member of the local school governance team at, say your respective schools, to the best of my ability. Okay. Members of the local school governance team, repeat after me, but you tell what you do. I further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any public money due to this state unaccounted for by me. That I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, nor of either of the several states, nor of any foreign state, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold said office according to the Constitution of the United States and the laws of Georgia, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States of this state and the bylaws of the Dougherty County Board of Education. So help me God. Please accept by saying I do. I do. So done. Thank you very much.
These four y'all slide to the middle, and make 2 rows. And we're going to stagger everybody into it, okay? That way we can see everybody. Right, Mr. Gomez, if you stand, give your hand, just slide.
While they are readying for the picture, we have Ms. Tanja Hawkins here also, who has completed everything for the swearing in, and we did not have her certificate. So we're asking her to please come up and take a picture with your other team members. We apologize. We are very, very sorry that that happened. Don't know how it happened, but we'll fix it.
All right, everybody look this way, and everybody see. All right, I'll stay right there. Good. All right, thank you very much.
And congratulations. Okay, go.
Let's say something about that.
Like, let them go.
Huh? Well, but I think I already know. Right?
Yeah.
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 I was saying about the charter system and those who go to that.
That's great. That's great. You do have an executive session.
Yes, ma'am. It's gonna be a doozy. And you can say that since we're pushed. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your indulgence in that. It takes some time to do that, but I think it's worthwhile. As a charter system, community involvement is one of the cornerstones. Innovation, flexibility, and community involvement are cornerstones of a charter system. And the ladies and gentlemen that you saw today, they got sworn in, have volunteered their time to serve as governance team members of several schools within our system. And the work that they do is vitally important. It's not an advisory group. It's not it's a governance team. They actually make decisions regarding school improvement, personnel, they give guidance on personnel, budgets, school improvement plans, and they have to go through this training to be equipped to do that in a way that's in line with best practices, and they can make informed decisions. So some people think they go and listen to presentations by students and go to PTO nights and things of that nature. They do that, but they also meet at least monthly to look at the real work of the school, to provide guidance to our principals, and they also serve, some of them serve on the superintendent's charter advisory panel and give me guidance, feedback on the governance of the school system as a whole. And the work that they do is very important, and we wouldn't be enjoying the success that we have had it not been, if it was not for people like that serving and volunteering their time to benefit our students. So we certainly thank them for that. And Madam Chair, that's all.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. And again, thank you for those who have volunteered their time. It's a commitment, and we appreciate it. It does indeed take a village. So at this time, at this time, we're going to go ahead and just scoot through our agenda here. Are there any questions on the agenda? Okay. Are there any questions on the consideration of the approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting held on November 14th? No. Item number 2, consideration of recommendation for employment of personnel. So this is just our board briefing, and at the regular meeting, we'll hear from our speakers. Okay, item number 3, consideration of recommendation for release of personnel. Item number 4, yes,
I'm sorry, I was trying to get my mic on.
yeah.
Just a question, Matt Green, how many years was that, Matt?
He served as part-time SRO when he was full-time with the city. So he has, I think, 36 years of law enforcement total. I'm not sure how many years it is with the Dougherty County School System, but I think over 20.
Wow, okay. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I was trying to get that earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Item number 4, consideration of recommendation from the Building and Grounds Committee to approve the Sylvandale Complex Conversion Project. It's an architectural contract. Item number 5, consideration of recommendation to approve the Gear Up Partnership Agreement. Item number 6, consideration of recommendation from the Instructional Accountability Committee to approve the course curriculum guidelines for gifted classes and the gifted continuation policy. Item number 7, consideration of recommendation to approve the following purchases. 7A, Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guide, Program Bid. 7B, High Quality Instructional Materials. 7C, REI School Bus Cameras.
A couple of comments on B
Yes.
and C, if you don't mind. Item 7B, that's part of a requirement that was made with the passage of the Georgia Literacy Act last legislative session. Requires it has several components. One component is a universal screener, dyslexia screener, and the other is the acquisition of high quality instruction materials that meet various components as required by the State Board of Education. And we identified 2 of the companies that provided, who were vetted through state committee that met the requirements, and we had an evaluation committee or an assessment committee that was local that took presentations from those 2 companies and made talked about the strengths and weaknesses of each of those companies, opportunities for improvement for those companies, and the alignment with the needs of the Dougherty County school system. And based on that, we made the recommendation for HMH to be the supplier of the high-quality instructional material with a recommendation for up to the amount listed, but we will enter into negotiation with them to get a more competitive price if possible, but that is the maximum amount that we will enter the contract for if the board approves. And then item 7C, the REI school bus cameras. You may ask yourself, do we have I thought we already have school bus cameras, and we do. But the cameras on the buses are close to end of life. And so we are replacing those cameras and upgrading those cameras high definition cameras, and they also have the capacity to go live. So we'll be able to monitor buses live while they're driving. So that's an upgrade from what we have currently, and again, that's a safety upgrade for our transportation department. That's all I have, Madam Chair, unless there are any questions.
All right. If there are no further questions, item 8, consideration of recommendation to approve the fundraising request. Item 9, our financial report. Item 10, any committee reports. Item 11, Mr. Superintendent, are you ready to give your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I am. And Mrs. Poole, I put up Matt Green's, Assistant Chief Green's experience. He had 36 years total with the Dougherty County school system, including his part-time work. And his full-time work is 14 years as Assistant Chief. And that was after a stellar career as a running back and a track athlete at Dougherty High School, if I'm not mistaken.
I played in Michigan, both retired at the same time.
Mr. Junebug's not here to help me when I start talking about Dougherty Trojans.
All right. Board members, Madam Chair, and members of the community, Superintendent's report for December 9th, 2024. We'll start with discussion of a Georgia Promise Scholarship School list. Then we'll move to our legislative priorities. Then we'll have our mid-year strategic plan update. As you know, this is the last meeting of the calendar year and marks the midpoint of our school year. Then we'll have a brief discussion of House Bill 581, discuss celebrations and announcements, and then an executive session will be needed for personnel, student matters, and possible pending litigation. The vision of the Dougherty County school system is that we're a destination school system that, in collaboration with families and community partners, provides quality educational and social development experiences that empowers graduates to be successful and impactful contributors to society. Our mission is to meet the academic and non-academic needs of our students with rigorous and relevant educational experiences that equip them to succeed in life. As we move, there has been some news coverage on the Georgia Promise Scholarship list that was introduced in legislation last legislative session was sent with Senate Bill 233. I was going to provide a description for that, but currently the list is data is being validated for the second time, I think third time. The initial list was removed because of some errors in the calculation. Then they presented another list, and it was removed last Friday. And updated list has not yet been provided. So when it does, we'll certainly share that information with you. Currently, the list includes 24 schools in our Southwest Georgia Regional Education Service area from 10 of the 15 school systems in our RESA. Dougherty County School System has 9 schools on the list: Alice Coachman Elementary School, Live Oak Elementary School, Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, Raven Springs Elementary School, Robert Harvey Elementary School, Turner Elementary School, Raven Springs Middle, Dougherty, and Monroe High. And it's based on CCRPI components, a single score. Over a 2-year period, the average the CCRPI scores for 2023 and 2024. And those components include content mastery, which includes scores on statewide assessments in English, language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. Progress, show how much growth a student demonstrates in English language arts and mathematics, and as well as how well English language learners are progressing to English language proficiency. Closing gaps is how we meet annual state improvement targets for student subgroups, and those subgroups are economically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, English language learners, and other. Go ahead, Mr. Davis. Yeah, right, and by race, by race. And then readiness includes scores, literacy, student attendance, percentage of students exceeding beyond the core instruction, accelerated enrollment, pathway completion, college and career readiness measures are also included for high school, and then graduation rates, both for 4 and 5 year graduation rates. This is a summary of the improvement in CCRPI for elementary schools in the Dougherty County school system by content, by component. The green arrow shows that the school increased, improved from 2023 to 24. The blue arrow with the red arrow shows that they declined in that particular category from 2023 to 2024. And the blue arrow means they stayed the same. You'll see all the blue arrows in closing gaps, which is how we meet the needs of their subgroups and how they hit performance targets. And if I'm not mistaken, each of those blue targets, the school scored perfect 100 in 2023 and 2024. So there was no room for improvement, but they scored a 100. So that's why the blue arrow was there. In the other category, there was either an increase and a decrease. As you can see, out of the 14 schools that were rated, including Morningside, which was last year was its last year in operation. 13 of 14 schools improved in content mastery. And the national studies showed a decline, although they were still one of the top performers in the district. And you may understand international studies has a large population of ELL students, English language learners, and that is a challenge, but a challenge they willingly accept because we give every ELL student an opportunity to choose to go to international studies regardless of their zone, because those students typically like to be in a group and in a community that's very supportive of their challenges. And so Dr. Davis has done a great job of that. And although the content mastery score did dip, again, they're one of the highest performers in our district. Progress scores, you see, out of the 14 schools, 8 improved, 6 declined. In closing gaps, you'll see that 6 declined and 8 either increased or stayed the same, and all those that stayed the same were at 100. And then in readiness, out of the 14 schools, you see that 11 increased or improved and 3 declined in the readiness scores. So again, as we said since I've been superintendent, we're not pleased with the raw results, overall results. We're not satisfied with the raw results, but we certainly are pleased with the direction that we're headed in terms of overall improvement. In our middle schools, in content mastery, you see that everyone but America's increased. Oh, also, out of the schools in the elementary schools, you'll see the ones bolded, Alice Coachman, Live Oak, Martin Luther King, Raven Springs, Miller, Robert Harvey, and Turner. You'll see that Alice Coachman improved in 3 or 4 categories. Live Oak improved in 2 categories, declined in 2. Same thing with Martin Luther King, improved in 2, declined in 2. Raven Springs Elementary School improved in 3, declined in 1. Robert Harvey improved in 2, declined in 2. And Turner improved in all 3 categories, 4 categories. Auburn and Middle, well, you see the middle schools in content mastery, we improved in 3. Other schools looked at 5 improved, 4, 1 declined. And in progress, Southwest Georgia Regional Achievement Center Middle School program did not have enough students to generate a score, but we had 2 improved, Americas and Robert Cross, and had 2 that declined. In closing gaps, you had 3 decline in closing gaps, 1 improved and 1 stayed the same, with Robert Cross that being 100 again. Then in readiness, had 3 improved and 1 declined. Again, South Georgia Regional Achievement Center Middle School did not have enough students to garner a score. And if you look at the closing gaps, that is a challenge. A large part of that is due to our special education population and them hitting performance targets. And as we've talked about since for the last couple of years, there's difficulty finding special education teachers to meet the needs of some of our most vulnerable students. Increased incentives for new hires, incentives for regular ed teachers to go to special education, and we have had some takers in that, but it's still a very difficult field to employ, and not just in Dougherty County, but across the state of Georgia and the nation. There are significant challenges with teachers in special education, and we're continuing to try to find ways to meet the needs of those students that we've been called to serve with special needs. Our high schools, again, Radium Middle is the middle school on the list, the promised list. They improved in 2 categories and declined in 2. Then the high schools, you look at content mastery, progress, and graduation rates, all improved. In closing gaps, again, in large part due to the special education population. Monroe improved, Dougherty and Westover declined. Then in readiness, Dougherty and Westover improved and Monroe declined. And all of these schools are, two of the schools, Dougherty and Monroe, are on the promised school list. You see that they improved in 5 categories and declined in 1 category. So again, we're not ecstatic with the raw results. We are quite pleased with the direction that they're headed and the improvement that's evident in their operations. Another piece that is not widely talked about that I want to bring to your attention is the attendance zone that impacts schools on the list. I circled the word "any" at the upper right-hand box. It says eligible students must reside in the attendance zone of any public school included on GOSA's published list of lower performing schools. You go down to the number 2 in the box below that. Note that a student does not need, would not, bold and underline, need to be actively attending the school to be eligible. If you reside in the attendance zone of at least 1 school on the list, then you meet the attendance requirements. In other words, Mitchell County, for example, their high school is on the list. They have 3 schools. They have 1 elementary, 1 middle, and 1 high. The high school is on the list. The other 2 schools are not. But every school, every student is in the attendance zone of their high school. So the elementary school students, the middle school students, and the high school students are eligible to participate in the voucher program. And although the legislation talks about the lower 25%, in Southwest Georgia alone, we have, like I mentioned, 24 schools that are on the list, but over 40 schools are impacted because of the attendance zone of the attendance zone regulation. I don't know if that was the intent of the legislation or whether it's an unintended consequence, but we're certainly asking some questions because you have some more rural school districts with 1 school on the list. And again, I mentioned the high school, but you have Worth County Middle School is on the list. 1 middle school, 1 elementary, 1 high, and 2 elementaries, I think. And but the middle school has the same attendance zone as the high school. So every student in the elementary student, every middle school student, and even the high school student, although the school that's on the list is lower grade, and the high school students are never going back to the middle school because the the middle school is on the list. The high school students are not eligible as well. It doesn't seem right that will be allowed, but we certainly are going to do some more research and make sure that's the intent of the legislation, and we're going to have some meetings to discuss that. The other thing, we're compiling some data to look at the poverty rate, economically disadvantaged student percentage rate for schools on the list. And preliminary data suggests that the majority of schools, vast majority of the schools on the list have have a percentage of economically disadvantaged students much higher than the state average. And we'll discuss that a little later. Next, our legislative priorities for 2025. As you know, each year we present legislative priorities to our local legislative delegation. We did so again this year, and thanks to Mr. Davis and Dr. Finley for standing in the gap to make that presentation. Our priorities include the expansion of our pre-K classes. As you know, that's been our #1 priority for the last 7 years, and it will continue to be a priority until we can get every student in Dougherty County, every pre-K eligible student in Dougherty County, access to a high-quality pre-K program. We've been able to expand by 200 students, over 200 students, and we had a waiting list again this year. So we're looking to expand again next year if our priority gets consideration, positive consideration. A quality basic education formula, that's the funding formula for the state of Georgia for public schools. And we're requesting that they add a weight for economically disadvantaged students. There's a weight for special education students. There's an added weight for CTA students. There's an added weight for students who have English as a second language. But Georgia is one of 6 states that does not provide a weight for economically disadvantaged students. And when we talk about challenges associated with education, particularly in economically disadvantaged areas, access to quality early learning and adequate funding to meet the wraparound support needs of those students are critical factors in student performance. And although we have done more than most, I would say, in terms of identifying additional funding by seeking grants and being funded with external grants, there's still a lot of work to be done, a lot of needs that go unmet that some communities don't face if they don't have those same challenges. So we're asking that the state provide for additional funding weight for those students who are economically disadvantaged to help meet their needs. State Health Benefits Plan, as if you've been to any of our meetings over the last year, I think I mentioned this every other meeting, our State Health Benefit Plan premium has increased from about $11,000 a year. That's how much the employer pays for the employee health benefit plan, to approach $21,000 a year. That's how much the employer pays. That's in addition to the premium that the employee pays. As you can imagine, that's taking a big hit to our budget. The increase alone, when fully implemented, will be about a $5.7 million impact to the Dougherty County school system budget. And although we do have a very healthy reserve, we cannot pay for this out of our reserve. That's not sustainable. You have some school systems whose reserves are not as healthy as ours, and they, quite frankly, don't know what they're going to do in terms of paying for this increased premium. So we're asking that the state slow the increase and also participate, because the state provides no funding for classified employees' state health benefit. And so that's all in the district. So we're asking that the state slow the increase rate and also participate and play a bigger role in supporting districts with these costs. Our teacher pipeline, as you know, if you looked at the news and saw anything about education, public education, you know, there's a teacher shortage. Our teacher pipeline is not as robust as it once was. Also, if you've been in the presentations I made to the board and outside in the community, you'll know that over the last 10 years, from 2014 to 2023, we did not get the data from 2024. The number of college graduates getting bachelor's degrees from University System of Georgia schools has declined by 36.9%, from slightly over 3,300 in 2013 to 2,200 in 2023. That's an unsustainable decline. If we have fewer people going into teacher education, that means there'll be fewer teachers to meet the needs of our students. And as you can tell, the needs are growing, and we need quality teachers. The number one factor in student performance is a quality teacher in the classroom. And with our legislative priority addresses that, expanding House Bill 385, which allows retirees to come back to work full-time, extending the teacher pay scale. You may not know, but the teacher pay scale stops at step 21. Retirement is at year 30. That means the last 9 years of a teacher's career, they don't get a step increase. And I argue that those are some of your most valuable educators because they mentor the younger teachers. They serve as teacher leaders. And I think that the teacher pay scale should reflect the value that they offer. So we're requesting that the state funds the teacher pay scale through year 30 for our teachers. And then workforce housing. We talk about extending the teacher pay scale for our veteran teachers. Having some conversations with teacher education majors coming out of Albany State and Georgia Southwestern who did a student teaching in Dougherty County schools and who would like to stay. They said the housing cost is prohibitive. We did some research, and USA Today did an article, last year they published an article. The community with the highest rent inflation for single-family homes in the country between January 2022 and January 2023 is Albany, Dougherty County, Georgia. Yes. With inflation being the way it is, and with housing rent inflation being the way it is in Dougherty County, what we're asking is that we're looking at, and we have to get a legal opinion on this. We're looking at the bond referendum that just passed, taking $10 to $15 million there, requesting state to participate as well, and asking for some congressionally directed spending. And I met with the city manager and the county administrator regarding their interest in this, but to create a teacher village that provides below market rate rent for quality housing for teachers in their induction phase, the first 4 years of the first 3 years rather of their employment, to give them below market rate rent for housing that will reduce the barrier of housing costs for them staying in Dougherty County and being teachers. Again, that's a very big challenge, and one of the things that we're looking at doing to increase our teacher pipeline efforts. Then finally, the last one is early literacy. That is our number one priority in our strategic plan. It's also a priority of the state. And I mentioned earlier during the presentation of the agenda items that the high quality instructional materials is a requirement for school systems through the Georgia Literacy Act. One thing that was not included in the Georgia Literacy Act was funding for that. As you can look at by our recommendation, we estimated it was going to cost between $2 to $3 million for that. And I think our recommendation is about $2.8 million. So we're asking that the state fund, if not in whole, certainly in part, the mandate for the procurement of high quality instructional materials. We do believe that that is a worthwhile investment, and we're prepared to pay for all of it. But for the money any money that the state can provide for that, we'll be able to use those funds to meet another need for our students. Any questions, comments, board members about the legislative priorities? Next, we'll go to our strategic plan. And before we do that, we'll put things in context and with this video that some of you have seen before.
This is a study by McKinsey. We did a lot of work, research with McKinsey and Company, the most respected research group in the country. And what they did was take, and you'll see on the right-hand side of this chart, it says 100. That is the average academic gain over the previous 3 years, pre-pandemic. Average academic gain in this country over the previous 3 years, nationwide. And the two groups I'm going to show you are for those students which were predominantly students who were white. And on the left-hand side, the darker bullet, those who were predominantly districts of students of color. Average increase in reading. The kids in poverty are minority children. Struggled more during the pandemic for lots and lots of reasons. We know all the reasons. I won't go into them today. And as much as that is problematic, we got to figure out how to close that gap. Math is much worse. It doesn't surprise me, but boy, it's disheartening. Look at math. And year by year, it got worse. Grade by grade. Whoops, sorry, went too far. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to make that up in a summer session. This is a multi-year journey to recapture that.
That's Bill Daggett, well-known.
This is a study by
Hold on one second.
McKinsey.
Sorry about that. Bill Daggett, Dr. Bill Daggett, Daggett and Associates, a well-known educational leader who partnered with McKinsey and Company, one of the leading research companies in the country, to look at the impact of COVID on students. They looked at two groups. They mentioned it by race, but they also looked at it was by socioeconomic status. As he mentioned, kids in poverty, minority children. That green line shows that took a 3-year average of academic gains prior to the pandemic, and that was at 100. That's the average over 3 years. The blue dot shows those students with schools with 50% more Caucasian students, and the black dot shows schools with 50% or more than 50% students of color, students in poverty. And with reading, students in poverty, the academic gain was about 75%, 77% more, only 77% of what it would typically have been in an academic year. And math, as he said, was much worse, 59% overall. But as you look at it grade by grade, kindergarten was 80%, goes down to 37% of a typical year's academic growth for students in poverty. And people may ask, why is math so low? Well, you have foundational skills in math, and if you don't acquire those skills at a lower grade, it's hard to build on in the upper grades. You're always playing catch up. And Mr. Daggett, Dr. Daggett, I mentioned in the article, you're not going to make that up in a summer session. It's a multi-year journey. And we are aware of that, and we set out on that multi-year journey of continuous improvement. And some of the initiatives that we use, our Race to Learn initiative, which was our extended learning opportunities for after school and summer school. Our Read to Succeed initiative is an early literacy initiative by the school system. Then we looked at two evidence-based practices: extended learning, high quality, high dosage tutoring, and we partner with, we contracted with tutor.com, part of the Princeton Review, to provide tutoring online and via phone for any student that needed support. And then IXL, which is high quality supplemental instructional resources in math and in English to provide support for students in our elementary and middle grades. And these resources are available online and they're crosswalk to match the standards for each of our content areas. A lot of times students who are economically disadvantaged don't have the support at home in terms of academics, and so they get further behind. So these resources were provided so that they would have quality supplemental resources and tutoring services when they got home to provide the support that they need and that they don't typically have. Early literacy, of course, is our #1 priority area. And you look at prior to the pandemic, we were increasing. It was, I think it was a newspaper article that I spoke with Terry Lewis, late Terry Lewis, in 2018 about our priority being literacy. And we were approaching 70%, which is close to an all-time high in our third grade. And then the pandemic hit. And in keeping with national data, you'll see it went from 69% to 36%. And then 43%, again, increased to 56%. And this year, last year, we declined somewhat. Recovery is not a straight line. You have some setbacks. If you look at the cohort for 2024, they were in kindergarten in 2021. The vast majority of our elementary school students, parents opted to learn virtually because of the pandemic and the concerns that we had with health and safety. Dougherty County was number 3 in the world in March and April of 20 rather. Wuhan, China, number 1. The Lombardy region in Italy was number 2. Auburn, Dougherty County, Georgia was number 3 in terms of COVID cases. And we had a lot of sickness and death. And a lot of our parents opted to learn virtually because they were afraid to send their kids to school. And we provided the support that we could for them. But it did take a toll. There's more research that McKinsey and Kemner did to look at the disparity between academic gains with students who learned virtually and those who learned in person. And that's nearly as concerning as the slide that we showed with Bill Daggett making that presentation. Academic rigor and relevance is our second priority area in our strategic plan. And we'll start looking at our content mastery, our journey for continuous improvement from 2017 to 2024. If you look at 2017, and then 2018 was our first year as superintendent, you'll see that the increases in content mastery overall, then a significant dip in 2021. Again, in keeping with national data, that's the year after the pandemic. We didn't do any testing in 2020. Our school ended on March 13th, Friday, March 13th, 2020. You'll see in 2022, you see the increase in content mastery across elementary, middle, and high. You'll see an increase in content mastery again from 2022 to 2023, and an increase in each grade band from 2023 to 2024 in terms of content mastery. Again, the improvements are there. Improvements are happening. Are we satisfied with the raw scores? No, but we are encouraged and pleased with the direction that we're headed, and that's borne out by the content mastery scores for each grade band in the Dougherty County school system. It's also shown by the component improvements in our CCRPI. Compared to the state, you'll see that we were closing the gap with the state between 18 and 19. The bottom fell out here, and some people may ask, why did the bottom fall out? Why did Dougherty County dip so far compared to the state? Well, we look at our economically disadvantaged student population. We have a higher percentage of economically disadvantaged students. We had a higher percentage of students that learned virtually during the pandemic, and those two factors contributed significantly to the decline in 2021. But you also see that between 2021 and 2022, there was as steep of an increase in performance, and it outpaced the state in terms of the gains. And again, gains in between 2022 and 2023, like I showed earlier, gains between 2023 and 2024. Those are the numbers that's really busy. But so I'm not going to try to go over that's really busy. But this slide shows those numbers below, and you'll see where we were prior to the pandemic, as well as after the pandemic in terms of content mastery. And these are some highlights. In ELA, we had all-time highs in content mastery and Georgia milestones in grades 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We had all-time highs in math in grades 5 and 8, and we had all-time high in science in grade 5, and we outperformed our 2019, that's our pre-pandemic year, in grades 8 and in a high school. And then in social studies, we tied for an all-time high in 8th grade in terms of content mastery in the Georgia milestones, again, headed in the right direction and making significant progress, particularly since the pandemic. And then you look at Dougherty County School System schools are named as literacy and math leaders in 2023 and 24, recognized by the Georgia Department of Education. We had 3 schools in 2023 identified as literacy leaders because of their growth or increase in literacy rates. Westtown at 15.6% increase, Lamar Reese at 15.9%, and Northside at 21%. And in 2024, we had 4 additional schools. Robert Cross, it's a usual suspect. They had 94.5% proficiency and growth of 10.8% in 6th grade, 96.5% achievement in 7th grade, and 96.3% achievement in 8th grade. Turner Elementary, 3rd grade growth of 18 percentage points increase, 18-point increase in 3rd grade literacy. And again, Turner is one of the schools that's on the list of for high speed for Senate Bill 233. And that's in studies, again, a 10.4 point increase. And there's Westtown again, 22.1% increase. That's their 2nd year being named as a literacy leader by the Georgia Department of Education based on their growth. And then in 2024, they introduced math leaders. They did not have math leaders recognized in across the state in 2023. They launched that in 2024. And we have 5 schools, Lake Park, with a growth of 11.1 in 3rd grade and 35.4 percentage points in 5th grade math. Monroe with 18.3, Dougherty with 17.1, and Westover with 17.3. And all 3 of those schools again were on the, 2 of those schools were on the Senate Bill 233 list, Monroe and Dougherty, again showing significant improvement in math. And at Robert Cross, again, they had outstanding achievement. They had 100% proficiency in math at Robert Cross. Social and emotional wellness, we're not going to go into a lot of that, but anyone that's going to college and going to Psych 101, they know this triangle, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, and basically it says if a person's lower level needs are not met, they can't focus on the higher order needs. And this side applies to education, physiological needs, safety needs, belonging needs, esteem, and self-actualization. So the basic needs, food to eat, has clean clothes, place to stay, emotional needs, clear class routines, access to counselors and nurses, forming relationships, advisory, adult role models, friendship groups and peer relationships, esteem, positive classroom environment, positive feedback, time for reflection. And then once all those things are taken care of, met, all those needs are met, then the students are available to learn. Quite simply, if a kid's hungry, don't know where they're going to lay their head at night, if they're homeless, they're not going to concentrate on what's going on in math class. And not making excuses. We understand the reality of some of our students, and we're taking steps to meet their needs. School-based health centers. We launched our school-based health centers actually in 2012. Now we have 4. Students can go to the doctor without leaving school. A lot of our parents, a significant number of our parents, don't have jobs that provide health benefits, and a lot of them don't have transportation. They don't have jobs that have paid time off. So children get sick. A lot of times they practice medicine in the emergency room. That's the most expensive way and the least efficient way to practice medicine, because when you get to the emergency room, it becomes an acute issue that probably could have been avoided with proper health care. So we launched our school-based health center initiative. We went from 4 in 2012 to we have 4. We went from 1 in 2012 to 4 now, and we were approved for a grant, the Georgia Department of Education, to expand to 2 more locations in the following school year. We also have 2 school-based dental centers, a school-based vision center, a school-based behavioral center focused on our middle school students. And then and I don't have a graphic here, but if you've gone in our meetings, you've seen that we presented data that there's an increased concern with mental health challenges with teenagers, particularly. And so we did a study, did a screener. It's a PHQ-8 screener designed by Pfizer. It's a depression screener. And once we did that screener of the middle school and high school students that took the screener, approximately 24% had signs of moderate to severe depression. 24%. Those are the 3 highest levels of depression rated by the screener. And with this grant, we're able to not only provide additional social workers, because we know those challenges don't stop at school. A lot of them are issues that relate to home. So we hired 19 additional social workers to help students and their families to combat those challenges. And for those that had acute issues, moderate to severe depression, this grant also provides mental health professionals provide counseling for those students, group counseling and a one-on-one counseling if needed, in-person, teletherapy, and also online therapy depending on the needs of the particular student. We also have a Project Prevent grant that deals with character education aimed at our elementary schools. Kids are different. Kids are different, particularly since the pandemic. If you talk to any teachers, they'll probably tell you. Talk to anyone that deals with students on a regular basis, they'll tell you they're a little different. And not necessarily in a good way in terms of the way they deal with conflict resolution and the emotional challenges that they face. So this grant is to work on character education, particularly our younger students in the elementary school. We have $4 million for $800,000 a year for 5 years, and the mental health grant was $3 million a year for 5 years. And then we also have Helping Hands, Ending Hungry Kids, Helping Kids. That's a partnership with a local organization, a retiree, Kathy Revel, retired, worked at Lake Park, worked at Turner Elementary School, came to us about students who face food insecurity. And food insecurity is if you're not in a structured program, you don't know where your next meal is coming from. We have one of the highest food insecurity rates of any county in Georgia. And so this program helps with that by taking whole fruit, unopened, prepackaged food and beverages that were going to go be thrown away in the cafeteria. Our students collect those. They're called captains. The captains collect those, put them in the bin, put them in the cooler, and on Fridays the volunteers come, package them in insulated bags, and they go home with students so they have food to eat on the weekend. So those are some of the things that we do to meet the needs of our students because we understand the challenges. We don't make excuses for them. We understand what they are, and we take action to address them. Not all communities face those challenges, and they're fortunate. The ones that do, we can't make excuses. We have to take action, and that's what we're doing in that regard. And you'll see that in some of the work that we're doing. Some immersion, mentoring, and character development issues. Men and women under construction program. President Dougherty said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, intelligence plus character. It's the real meaning of education. And again, building on the work from the Project Prevent grant, we're looking at mentoring and character development initiatives. Our Ladies and Gentlemen's Club, our Leader in Me, and we're working on another one to focus on our middle and high school students that we'll be launching, unveiling probably within the next month. I would say the next couple of weeks, but in the next couple of weeks we'll be on Christmas break. So in January we'll be launching an initiative in that regard. Investment in human capital, as we talked about our teacher pipeline, and our leader pipeline is also shrinking across the state. We launched an Aspiring Principals program. We mentor Teachers Academy, those teachers to mentor those teachers who are coming into the profession early, so that they would provide them with support, so they become less frustrated. They have people to lean on. Our Instructional Coaches Academy, working on our instructional coaches to be better equipped to meet the needs of our teachers. We have more and more teachers who are entering the profession without going through a teacher education program. They go maybe major in math or major in biology, major in English, and then they convert to be teachers. And you ask, why is that? I see some puzzled faces. As I mentioned earlier, the number of teachers, the number of people graduating with degrees in outside in teacher education has declined about 36.9% over 10 years. So we don't find alternate pathways for people to enter the profession. We won't have enough people in the classroom. But when those people don't go through a teacher prep program, they don't get the education on how to do lesson plans, how to analyze data, how to use that to inform instruction. So instructional coaches are vitally important to help those novice teachers and those teachers in alternate career from alternate preparation programs to be effective in the classroom. We also use live stream instruction through our Elevate K-12 partnership, and we have student internship programs and a Generate program through Mercer University that ends this year, where teachers who came from an alternate career pathway can get a master's degree in education, free of charge, and they also get a $500 stipend per month because they have to go to Mercer once a month to go on campus. And we had about 30 participants in that program. And then emerging initiatives, our parent-to-teacher program and our teacher apprenticeship program. We're the first school system in the state of Georgia to have a registered teacher apprenticeship program for K through 12 educators. And we have about 32 participants in that program, where they go through various stages of apprenticeship, culminating in year 4, where they become a full teacher. And as they go through the apprenticeship program, they go to school for free. They get paid at increasing rates until they get paid regular teacher pay in year 4. Area of family community engagement is very important with communities like Dougherty County to engage the entire community in these efforts. As you mentioned before, with our local school governance team, those volunteers play a vital role in our school improvement efforts. And Level Up is another program that's pretty unique to the Dougherty County school system. We were in a workforce development master plan study sponsored by the Chamber and Albany EDC. And we learned that poverty is a factor, not only in education, but in our workforce. And we also learned that we leave, as a community, hundreds of jobs on the table every year because we don't have a trained workforce to meet those needs of the employers. So we started a Level Up program, which is a workforce development and empowerment initiative through the Dougherty County school system. And what it does, it provides job skills training in high demand career areas with local educational institutions, as well as other career training organizations. These are some of the partners that we have. Georgia Power was first. We got this opportunity through a grant with Georgia Power, a $3 million grant over 4 years, $750 a year. And these are the other partners. Integrity Healthcare Institute provides training in CNA certifications. College and Career Academy with Construction Ready. They provide training in heavy equipment operations. 818 Diagnostics provides training in phlebotomy. And then Albany Tech, Marty Scruggs, Ready Trans, Outdoor, the Shoebox, and Family Leadership Connection all provide support services. Family Leadership Connection provides child care. When the parents get off work, the first cohort, we realized we had some challenges. They didn't always come because sometimes they didn't have child care. And so what we did, we provide child care through Family Leadership Connection. Some of them didn't have transportation. We engaged with Ready Trans to provide transportation for those who had transportation challenges, to break down the barriers that prevented the parents of adult family members, the parents and adult family members of Dougherty County School System students from participating in this program. And I can say that it has been a success. To date, we've impacted more than 150 households and families of the Dougherty County School System students. We've had 121 Level Up participants who completed the coursework and graduated from the CNA program, and over 70 now have fully earned their CNA certificates, passing both the written and skills portion of the assessment, and gainfully employed, earning a living wage and a job with benefits. In addition, we have 5 Level Up participants who earned phlebotomy credentials, and 27 prior to the graduation program we had last week. We had, I think, 8 more, so we had 35 Level Up participants completed heavy equipment operation training in bulldozer and excavator, and they earned a credential through Caterpillar. As we move forward with this initiative, we're going to incorporate financial literacy component and Money Matters piece. We're going to expand credential offerings to not just heavy equipment operation, but other construction career fields through our Construction Ready program. We're going to organize Level Up job fairs for those completers to meet with potential employers. We're trying to expand, also work with Albany Tech, another credentialing agency, to provide CDL licenses for participants, because that's a growing field. And I'm going to show you just a couple of things. This was a presentation that was made by a parent who went through our program, and he presented to Georgia Power. They came down for a quarterly meeting, and he presented to them.
Like thank Dougherty County School System, the Level Up program.
Can you do the volume, JD?
My fiance was the salutator, and it made me want to step up and do something so my kid can see both parents, they doing something. So I came to the program to thank Dougherty County School System.
Can you hear that?
Level Up program, and it might sound funny, but Ms. Lydia and Ms. Keisha, my fiance was the salutatory of your class. And it made me want to step up and do something so my kid can see both parents, they doing something. So I came to the program. I previously had some heavy equipment operating experience, but this here was like a refresher, and it made me get back into the groove of doing it. And it was something I enjoyed doing prior, but as we all go through life, things happen. I stopped heavy equipment operating. Well, I picked it back up, and at the end of the course, Mr. Wooler, he was like, hey, I need you to come to Oxford Construction. They want to see what you can do on the bulldozer. Well, once again, the job I was at wouldn't give me the time of day to take off and go show what I can do. But through this program and the support that I was given, Mr. Wooler pushed my name. He was like, hey, I got a student, give him a chance. He can't come now. He can come whatever other day you got, he can come. Just give him a chance. I got the opportunity. I didn't operate the bulldozer. I just talked to the gentleman. And he was like, Wooler speaks highly of me. And I was like, hey, anything you ask me to do, I'll do. I got the job that day. And like I said, it's one of them things where you go into the situation, I'm a person, I love learning. I don't care what it is, I love to learn. So I went out there, they were like, hey, bulldozer operating $14 an hour. No problem, I'll get to it. Showed them I can operate a bulldozer and a front end loader and an excavator. I tell you, I left $14 an hour like 3 months ago. And that's why I say this program helped me so much. Like my kids see it. They don't see dad coming home, oh, he worked overnight, he's tired, we ain't gonna give him something. No, I see my kids every day, putting to bed every night. They see me put on this outfit, they're going in the holiday, they're going in the holiday. But once again, this program, the support, when I tell you it was there, I called Mr. Wooler one night at 3 in the morning. I was just up looking at my schoolwork he had put out for us, and I was like, Mr. Wooler, what's this, what's that? You're like, watch it about 3-4 times. When you come to class, tell me what you know, and we'll go over. And it was just like that. Miss Harvey, oh, I love Miss Harvey. Miss Harvey will own me every week. I get out work, hey, boy, don't forget class. I know Miss Harvey coming. And I was fortunate enough, I graduated with cohort 2. I was part of the second group that came out here. I try to tell anybody, man, you got kids. I was fortunate, I got 6 kids in Dougherty County. Hey man, don't let this opportunity pass. You're not doing that, you're not where you want to be, try stepping up doing this. It'll help out a lot. And I thank everybody for your time.
We have another one. I know we're short on time, so I won't play this. This was she went through the CNA program, was valedictorian, got a CNA job, started her own business, and now she works with Integrity Healthcare and hires CNA graduates from that program in her business. So she's gone from underemployed to getting credentials to be employable to being an entrepreneur and hiring people as an employer. That's that's what she presented, and this was presented to school systems, Augusta, Richmond County, Clayton County, Savannah, Chatham, of course, Dougherty County, and then the executives from Georgia Power were there to listen and to say they were impressed by this effort is an understatement. And what this does is this provides parents and adult family members of the students of Dougherty County school system with an opportunity to level up their careers. If you're unemployed or underemployed, you don't have a marketable skill, we can get you the marketable skill, contact employers for you, get you employed, and if you have the work ethic, you can be successful. He started at $14 an hour. He's out there $14 an hour 3 months ago. But the most impactful piece was this. He said, now the kids see me every night. I don't have to work overnight in a job, and I don't see my kids. I see my kids, and I put them to bed every night. And when they say, Daddy, when he puts his vest on, are you going in the hole today? You know what that means? He's getting on his heavy equipment. Yeah, I'm going in the hole today. And so they see, and I don't know if you caught it, but he said his fiance went through the CNA program and got credentialed. That's how he learned about it. And he said, well, I'm going to do it too. So now I can see both of our parents, both of their parents are stepping up to the plate. So that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Finally, Villa, applications, this is a volunteer instructional leadership learning academy. Applications opened on November 14th. Applications closed on December 12th. Madam Vice Chair, I know you asked me about that. We surpassed our capacity for the course. So we're gonna have to find out how we're gonna do, additional cohorts. But the response has been overwhelming. And for those that are not familiar with that, it is a program that aims to empower parents and volunteers in the community with skills for effective school system engagement. 6 courses that looks at the operations of the school system, lay of the land, overview of our local school district, our education operations, our financial operations. You get a field trip to several schools to see the inner workings, and then, of course, our graduation. And those are the dates that we have slated for those different modules. Last thing I want to talk about is our 581 homestead floating exemption. As you know, in the election last month, there were several things on the ballot. One was House Bill 581, and it provides for a floating homestead exemption, and it caps the rate of increase for the millage rate by the rate of inflation. And the inflation index has not yet been identified that I know of. The assessment increases, right? Right. But the assessment increases, and they have to identify the CPI index yet.
Yes, sir. It will be based on the property value, based on the previous year, and then the assessment increases by the rate of inflation, homestead exemption.
Right.
That covers that.
Right. I got that part, but they haven't identified the inflation index yet that I know of. Yeah. Right. So they haven't identified the inflation index they'll be using yet. But what this does is it reduces, it restricts a local government's ability to increase, to raise property taxes. And on the surface, it sounds pretty good, because as a board, this board has decreased the millage rate 6 out of the last 7 years. So we certainly understand fiscal responsibility and reducing the burden on taxpayers. But with the increase in healthcare costs, with the potential impact of Senate Bill 233, the Promise School Act, with having to pay teachers more because of the teacher pipeline issue, having to pay a competitive wage, not only teachers, but bus drivers, like school nutrition workers. This severely restricts the local government's ability to increase revenue. And so, although we are continuing to do a study, and all of this is law, the law also provides for an opt-out. Cities, counties, and school boards can opt out. They have to do so by March 1st, 2025, and they have to have 3 public hearings prior to doing so. So, beginning in January, the board can start having those public hearings to get input from the public if the board wants to consider opting out of this House Bill 581 floating homestead exemption. And based on my preliminary analysis, I think that is prudent for the board to opt out, because if you don't opt out by March 1st, 2025, there's no other opportunity for you to opt out ever. And it's never good to lock yourself in for a lifetime on something like this, because you don't know what the needs are going to be moving forward. Yes, sir. We are. Sure. Yeah. That's Tommy brought just a little lightly reading material for you to. Right.
Thank you.
Right. And there's one particular difference between cities and counties and school systems. Cities and counties have the option to do a floating local option sales tax to recoup the revenue lost through the floating homestead exemption. School boards were not given that right or that authority. So we're going to have some conversation with our local delegation about that as well. So that's the information for your reading. I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot as we come up in January 2025. Finally, some announcements and celebrations. Our Dougherty County Youth Orchestra winter concert. We have a youth orchestra. Ms. Hutley is going to be next Tuesday, December 17th, at the ASU West Campus Theater at 7 p.m. Ms. Hutley is a regular attendee of this event, and in the year I couldn't make it, I was sick, but I was sick because I couldn't make it. I didn't make it because I was sick, but I was upset I couldn't make it. And she went and sent pictures to rub it in, I think, but that's okay. They always do an excellent job. And if any board member wants to go, please let me know. We get your name on the list for you to attend. So I know Ms. Hutley is going to be attending. Ms. Sanders, anyone else that wants to attend, please let Ms. Sanders know. Robert Cross Academic Bowl team wins region championship. They competed in the region competition this weekend, and they competed in 5 rounds and won all 5 rounds during the region championship. They competed in January at the state competition in Milledgeville. We also have some individual accomplishments. Mariana Wright, who's a multi-time state champion at Monroe in track and field, committed to the University of Florida for a Division I track scholarship. And of course, she holds several state titles, and she also is a junior nationals title in hurdles. And then you have Westover. She deserves an applause. Torian Chester signed a Division I football scholarship with the University of Pittsburgh. He's an offensive lineman with Westover football team. And then we also try to highlight our employees. We work our employees during our DCSS, employees, educators, presented at the Georgia International Conference Center, the Georgia Educational Technology Conference. So you have Elsie Boykin, Natasha Bacon, Christina Johnson, Portia Billings, Chastity Williams, Kawana Jones, Sean Foreman, Yasmin White, Jonathan Cood, and Candace Porter, and Jordan Cambron, all presented to educators from across the state of Georgia on various topics related to infusing technology into instruction. So we want to applaud them for their efforts and expand their reach with Dougherty County and sharing their educational expertise with educators from across the state of Georgia. Time is well spent, Madam Chair, so I would think that the board may want to defer the executive session to after the board meeting, the formal board meeting. Any questions?
Questions, comments? No questions. Okay. We do not anticipate action. We do?
Yeah, we'll be after the meeting.
Okay, that's okay. All right. At this time, let's go ahead and begin our regular board meeting with a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Mr. Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations?
Yes, ma'am. We have Ms. Henry Mathis, who wants to make a presentation to the board.
Madam Chairman, Superintendent Dyer, board members, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm here tonight to speak on the Senate Bill 233, the low-performing schools in the Dougherty County school system. Now's the time to further address low-performing schools in the Dougherty County school system. Decreasing low-performing schools' impact on communities is vital to Albany, Dougherty County, Georgia. The Dougherty County school system serves 16,844 students in 14 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 3 high schools, and 1 alternative school. District-wide graduation rate, the Dougherty County school system high school graduation rate for 2023 was 88%, which is an increase from the 2022 rate of 87.13. The Dougherty County school system graduation rate is higher than the state average and has been for the past 4 years. The demographics, race 89.8% African Americans, 4.2% Caucasians, 3.7% Hispanic, 2.2% other, 0.4% Asian or Asian Pacific Islander, 0.1% American Indian or Alaskan Native, 0% Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders. Education helps promote tolerance in a society and helps reduce common conflicts between diverse populations in an urban setting. Low-performing schools can significantly impact society by limiting education opportunities for students, perpetuating poverty cycles, hindering economic growth, increasing crime rates in certain areas, and contributing to social inequality, as students from disadvantaged backgrounds often attend these schools and face barriers to achieving higher levels of education and employment due to inadequate learning conditions. All across the United States, there are schools that are considered to be low performing. In North Carolina State College of Education, Assistant Professor Lam Pham says that small interventions are not enough to improve student achievement. Instead, he said whole school reform is required to turn around chronically low-performing schools. Instead of interventions that only focus on teachers in a specific subject area or one aspect of the school, a whole school reform or turnaround effort takes a holistic approach to addressing multiple factors that might be contributing to the school's poor performance. Whole school reform is this idea that we need to focus on the entire school. So we think about things like all the human capital in the school, the curriculum in the school, and how long the school day is. All of those kinds of comprehensive interventions that can be put into place, Pham said. It can come from multiple sources of governance, as well as we think about it from the federal level, state level, and district level as well when implementing whole school comprehensive reforms. And that's from Assistant Professor Lam Pham, Assistant Professor, North Carolina College, State College of Education. The Dougherty County School System, 9 low-performing school, Alice Coachman, Dougherty Comprehensive High School, Live Oak, Martin Luther King Jr., Monroe High, Radiant Springs Elementary, Radiant Springs Middle, Robert H. Harvey Elementary, and Turner Elementary. The DCSS total number of schools are 22, 1 alternative school, 14 elementary school. Of the 14, 6 of those are low-performing schools, which represent 43% of that total 14 elementary schools, 43% low-performing. 4 middle schools, 1 of those middle schools, which represent 25% low-performing. 3 high schools, 2 of which are low-performing, 67% low-performing. The key impacts: reduced workforce potential. Students from low-performing schools may struggle to acquire necessary skills for higher education and well-paying jobs, limiting their career options and impacting the overall workforce quality. Economic disparities. Communities with low-performing schools often experience higher poverty rates as residents lack the educational attainment to secure stable employment, leading to a cycle of economic disadvantage. Social mobility limitations. Lack of access to quality education in low-performing schools can restrict upward social mobility, perpetuating inequalities across generations. High crime rates. Studies have shown a correlation between areas with low-performing schools and higher crime rates, potentially due to limited opportunities and lack of positive social structures. Neighborhood decline. Poor school quality can negatively impact property values and discourage families from settling in a community, leading to a decline in neighborhood investment. Teacher turnover. Low-performing schools often experience high teacher turnover rates, further hindering the quality of instructions and student learning. Disengagement and low expectations. Students in underperforming schools may become disengaged from learning due to the lack of support, low expectation, and limited resources. Factors contributing to low-performing schools: socioeconomic disparities. Students from low-income backgrounds often attend schools with fewer resources and higher student-teacher ratio. Inequitable funding. Unequal distribution of educational funding across districts can lead to disparities. And lack of quality qualified teachers. Teacher shortages and inadequate teacher training can impact students' achievement in low-performing schools. Mr. Superintendent, you said you're about 41 million, so you might have to. Addressing the issue, targeted intervention, implementing specific programs to address the needs of students in low-performing schools, such as early childhood education, after-school programs, and tutoring, funding, transportation, and nutrition. And I'm glad to see that the school system is already doing something, so we got you there. School improvement initiatives, investing in professional development for teachers, improving curriculum, and implementing effective leadership strategies. You know, one note here I want to say that I sure would like to see home economics. And I saw you mention money management or banking. That's a good thing. And homework, yeah, the debate is out on that. Oh, I need
2 more minutes.
Okay, good. Well, I'll be through in 2 minutes. Community partnerships. Collaborating with community organizations to provide additional support services to students and families. Religious community, Divine Nine, retired educators, business community. Addressing systemic inequalities, addressing underlying issues like poverty and access to health care to create a more equitable learning environment. I'm calling on the DCSS, Dougherty County government, city government, and Chamber of Commerce to have quarterly meetings to address poverty, health care, and wholesome community services such as community development, economic development, wholesome recreation, eradication of slum and blight. The issue of low-performing schools across Georgia and public education in general is deeply concerning. I'm sure we recognize the many variables contributing to this nationwide challenge. In addition to the Way Forward, which is your program, the strategic plan of DCSS, what can we do collectively? What can we do? What can the community do collectively beyond our own household to support families affected by poverty in Dougherty County? These challenges often adversely impact children's education. I encourage parents, retired educators, religious leaders, community leaders, business leaders, and citizens of Dougherty County, if you are not already engaged, to join me in getting involved going forward. You can adopt a family, you can adopt a student in need, volunteer time, or at the very least share the positive achievements of DCSS within our school system on social media. You can sponsor students. Successful efforts at the school level must be supported by corresponding changes at the system level. Successful efforts at the school level must be supported by corresponding changes at the system level. Implement restorative practices, reward students, increase the pay of teachers, staff, and personnel in low-performing schools. I'm confident that if we put forth our best effort to support families, our children will thrive, ultimately leading to improved school performance. I'm committed to visiting classrooms, reading to students, supporting the academic learning of impacted students. And I want to thank you very much. Members of the board, thank you for your service. And Superintendent, some of what I had in there you have already doing, so yes, we're good there. But we'd like to have a community engagement. Yes, and I hope that you all will follow up on bringing the bodies, the local government, city, county, school board, and chamber together in a roundtable discussion to discuss these issues, which we're talking about, especially the one on poverty.
Yes, sir.
We can deal with it if we just come together. Thank y'all very much.
And thank you, Mr. Mathis. And thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of comments. It looks like we're aligned on many issues, Mr. Mathis, with the socioeconomic disparities, inequitable funding, particularly the wait for those students who are economically disadvantaged. Part of our legislative priority, as I mentioned earlier, is to have QB change to increase the weight for economically disadvantaged students. You're targeting interventions for early childhood education. I expanded the pre-K, over 200 new pre-K slots. They're still being one of our number one legislative priority. The tutoring and after-school programs, as I mentioned earlier. Like community partnerships we mentioned earlier with our local school governance team, Helping Hands, and our 21st Century grants through Malala Community Outreach, providing after-school tutorials. I think when you mentioned implement restorative practices, you may not know, but we're a charter system, and restorative practices has been a part of our school system charter since 2015, and we actively practice restorative practices in terms of student discipline, in addition to our PBIS. And our increase in teacher pay. We have increased teacher pay along with the state by about $9,000 over the last 7 years, last 6 years, excuse me. We also increased the minimum wage for all employees to $15 as a minimum wage for all full-time employees of the Dougherty County School System, because our board's commitment was that nobody who works full-time for the Dougherty County School System should be in poverty. And so that was enacted last fiscal year. So a lot of things that we're doing are in line with what you recommend, and I certainly welcome you to meet with me anytime. As last time you presented, I gave you that same opportunity, and I look forward to partnering with anyone who wants to assist, because it is, as I say all the time, it takes a village, and we're all a part of that village. We have many parts of the village who are already working to help, including the city, county. I mentioned earlier, I met with the city administrator, city manager and county administrator just last Friday, and we're committed to meeting once a month to discuss some common challenges and how we can address those. So, and of course, our work with the chamber has already begun, and I think that we're well on the way. As you can look at by the data presented earlier, we're making progress. If we continue down that road, then I think we'll see the results that we all desire. Yes, sir.
You're absolutely on point. There were two things that Phil mentioned, Albany Tech and Albany State.
Yes, sir.
That collaboration.
Yes, sir. We meet once a quarter.
Yeah.
President of Albany State, President of Albany Tech, and I meet once a quarter.
Yeah. Let's enlarge the table with those government agencies.
Yes, sir.
I think we can come up with something for them.
Yes, sir. I think so.
Sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mathis. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I so move.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting held on November 14th, 2024.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain, well, wait, we need to go into executive session.
No, we can do the consent agenda if you want to.
We can do an exam. Okay, we're not gonna vote.
I think we just add it to it, and we don't just vote on the adjourn, we can add it.
Got it, okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion for a consent agenda,
So moved.
2 through
Second.
9. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for personnel, student matters, and pending litigation.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
so move.
Second pool.
I think we have
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay, any opposed?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say before we go into executive session, I want to, I stated this at the last Building and Grounds Committee, and I want the public to know that we are going to be missing the services of Mr. Youngblood, who has really impressed me as a board member, as one who worked with others very well. And we are going to miss his stewardship. And I just want to say that before we go into executive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Bush, for saying that. And I think, are there any other board members that have any comments? I'll speak for just behalf of myself. Yes, I thank you so much for just your dedication to the board and working together, but more importantly, your dedication to the students of Dougherty County. It really has made an impact, and not just on this board, but in your service in the school and on the leadership. So thank you so much, and we wish you the best.
Thank you. I appreciate all the positive comments, thank you, and enjoyed serving with the board.
Just don't change your phone number.
And I'm always available.
Well, keep that cell phone, because you know I'll be calling. Thank you for all
Okay,
the
so I
work
think
that you've
the
done.
last thing is, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Headley, I'm sorry.
Thank you for all the work that you have done on behalf of children and adults as well. I like the idea that you are native Albany. So am I. But we appreciate you. We shall remember all of the great work that you have done. And of course, we have been the beneficiaries of your great work. Be encouraged, live well, happy, smile all the time, and remember that it's all right. Anyhow.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the table to go into executive session. Did we vote on that? I don't think we voted on that. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. We are now in executive session. We do anticipate action coming out of this, so we will adjourn when we reconvene. If you would please step outside of the boardroom, gather your personal belongings, and we'll retrieve you when we're finished with executive session. Thank you for your patience, and I will entertain a motion to add 2A, an addendum and a recommendation for employment.
Madam Chair,
And,
so moved.
well, and its release. Personnel addendum, 2A. Thank you.
Motion is second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Now, we're gonna, motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're now